Not only did this mother fail to love and nurture her daughter, but she took away her freedom, inflicting pain on her as she imprisoned her for 25 years. Let's unfold the case of Blanche Monnier. On the 23rd of May 1901, the Attorney General of France received an anonymous letter which says, "I have the honour to inform you of an exceptionally serious occurrence. I speak of a spinster who is locked up in Madame Monnier's house, half-starved and living on a putrid litter for the past 25 years. In a word, in her own filth." Attorney General of France questioned the reliability of the letter because he was aware Madame Monnier's family were well respected and very influential, so found it hard to believe they can do such things. They were determined to investigate this further, so notified the local police to conduct the investigation on Madame Monnier. Police who knew the area well were aware only 2 people were living in the stated address, which was in Poitiers, Vienne, France, which was Blanche Monnier's mother, Madame Monnier, and her brother, Marcel Monnier. Madame Monnier received awards from the Committee of Good Works for her philanthropic deeds, while her son Marcel was a lawyer. The next day, police went to Madame Monnier's house to let them know they received an anonymous letter, so needed to search the house. Madame Monnier was outraged when she heard this and declined their request to search, and said it's just an accusation made towards them and the letter's nonsense. After a while of arguing, the police had no choice but to force their way into the house. As the police went upstairs to the attic, they found a room which had been padlocked shut, so they immediately forced the door open. As soon as they opened the door, they were hit with an awful smell. The room was pitch black, and one by one they slowly made their way into the room. One of the policemen went to pull the curtain to open the window. Once sunlight enters the room, they were alarmed to find naked Blanche on a mouldy mattress filled with dried up urine and feces. She had a dirty blanket covering her head and she was shaking vigorously. Around her were pieces of rotten food and lices covering the floor. The closer they got, the stronger the stench were, and the policemen had to leave the room as they were gagging, but after a short while they managed to wrap her in a blanket, immediately taking her to the hospital. Soon after, the police went to gather Madame Monnier, who was sitting calmly in her room as if she was anticipating she'll be questioned by the police, and Marcel was in the room next to her. The police then began their questioning. After 25 years of imprisonment, Blanche was finally set free. Blanche was diagnosed to be severely malnourished and extremely frail. At 49 years old, she weighed just 55 pounds. Blanche suffered long-lasting psychological damage after a decade-long imprisonment and were unable to take care of herself. She could only manage to converse in simple sentences and were not very aware of her surroundings. But after she was saved, she did manage to voice how lovely the air were. This leads to the question, who was Blanche Monnier and why was she held captive in her own home by her family? Blanche was a beautiful young lady who attracted the attention of many men who wanted to marry her. Her father, Emile Monnier, passed away in 1879, and her mother, Madame Monnier, was very strict towards her. She controlled her diet and routine. After Emile's death, Madame Monnier became even more stricter on Blanche and her marriage. She was not allowed to marry someone who would negatively impact her family's reputation. Madame Monnier asked her to leave the man, but she refused and had regular dates with him. Blanche had been rumoured to be pregnant, and after Madame Monnier heard this, the two had constant argument over the situation, and one evening, her mother decided to put a stop to this. Madame Monnier and Marcel waited for Blanche to come back home from shopping. The two of them then chained her to a bed in the attic. Blanche screamed at the top of her lungs, but Madame Monnier just ignored her and explained the door would remain locked until she stopped seeing him. Madame Monnier thought by doing this, Blanche would agree to end her relationship with the man, but she refused to cave in, and eventually she became a prisoner in her own home for the next 25 years, living off mouldy food and in a filthy state with only the lices to accompany her. The man she fell in love with passed away in 1885, but she was still locked up in the attic. Madame Monnier and Marcel continued with their lives, acting as if nothing had happened. The Monnier servants were too afraid of them, so no one dared to call the police. Several witnesses came forward and said they heard a woman repeatedly scream from the attic, which they now believe it was Blanche. Another witness said they heard Blanche shouted out, "What have I done to be locked up? I don't deserve this horrible torture and no one to come to my rescue." When the neighbours questioned Madame Monnier, she reassured them it was nothing to be worried about and it was just an insane member in the family. At that time, it was legal for insane family members to be kept indoor, so they bought her story for years. Madame Monnier was arrested and the news of Blanche's imprisonment by her own mother caused a massive outrage amongst the community, with a lot of angry mob forming outside of their house. This led to Madame Monnier suffering from a heart attack a few days before her trial on the 8th of June 1901, 15 days after her daughter was discovered and set free. Marcel was accused of being an accomplice and stood trial alone. He claimed Blanche was insane and she had locked herself up in the room. Initially he was convicted, but he appealed, and being a lawyer, he managed to worm his way out of his year-long sentence. He put all the blame on his dead mother and said there wasn't a duty to rescue law, so they couldn't convict him and he was not found guilty. As for Blanche, she recovered to some extent, but still had long-lasting psychological damage after a decade-long imprisonment. She was never able to rejoin society. Eventually, she was placed in a sanitarium in Bois. 12 years after being rescued, she passed away in 1913. Although this happened over a century ago, but it doesn't make it any less disturbing to see how a mother can be so cruel to her own daughter, with Marcel and the servants not intervening to help save Blanche. What would you do if you were the servant? Thank you so much for watching. Please do support the channel by giving us a like, subscribe and share this, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now!